everybody. Welcome to the Hallmarkies podcast. And we are really excited today. We have a Hall Star actor here with us. We are talking again with actor Matthew James Dowden. And Matthew, thank you so much for coming back.
Thank you for having me back.
Yeah. So I realized when I was getting ready that we last talked to you in October of 2019, which seems crazy to me because we communicate every so often on Instagram, and it feels like it hasn't been that long since we talked.
Yeah, pre-COVID. Yeah, a little bit since then. Yeah.
Yeah. So how have you been?
Things have been good. This is like, that thing where you run into somebody on the street and you haven't seen them for like 10 years. You say, so how are you doing? It's like, where do you start? No, things are good. Yeah, things are good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Yeah, really good. I ask about the quarantine because I remember that you had quite a bit of, you were kind of a Renaissance man. So I was curious if you got any new hobbies or you developed any of your hobbies during quarantine.
Any new hobbies? I know that a friend of mine, a very good friend of mine, is an excellent chef. And what we did do at one point during quarantine, we did these Zoom dinners where we would cook the same meal at the same time, eat down, sit down, and all eat together on
that's
like a
cute.
Zoom. But somehow mine never turned out the way it did. I was following the same thing that he did, and then although then I'd be like, wait, did you already put the onions in? He's like, yeah, I put those in like 5 minutes. I was like, so yeah, a few of us did that, which was fun. But I don't know. I maybe didn't do as many things as I was planning. Like a lot of people, I think when we started to see a countdown to coming out of quarantine, everybody was like, "Oh no, I'm not ready to come out yet. Like, I need another month." But it's sometimes the dangers of looking through Instagram and things like that you see the collective achievements of like hundreds and or thousands of people, and you compare it to your own self and think, God, I've done nothing. But actually, it's not the case.
Yeah, so you're like, I got to get started making some sourdough or something. Like,
yeah, that was a big thing. Bread, Tiger King. Yeah, that I remember.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It feels like a million years ago. I got really into this docuseries called McMillions about the fraud for the McDonald's monopoly. It was so good. Oh, it was the best. And they had a podcast that went along with each episode of the show, which was also really good. And
with Michael Keaton.
What's that?
The movie The Founder.
Oh, yeah.
That's about McDonald's, isn't it? That's
excellent. Yeah, that's true. That is about McDonald's. Yeah. Yeah, because I remember when we talked with you, I said that I thought you know those ads where it's like, I'm the most interesting man. Because you've been like a lawyer and you've been an actor and you've been a magician, you've been a writer. I mean, just amazing.
Yeah, I keep going until I get fired or kicked off, and then I try something new. Yeah.
So were you by yourself during quarantine, or did you have some family being in Canada?
I was on my own. Yeah.
Yeah, so, me too.
Yeah. So a lot of Zoom stuff and
yeah.
Zoom.
My 40th birthday, we did a Zoom murder mystery game.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. It had a British Bake Off theme, but it was the Great British Bump Off, which was funny.
That became another obsession of a lot of people. The Great British Bake Off, for sure.
Yeah, including myself. So what was your first project back after quarantine? Do you remember?
I think it was Good Morning Christmas with Alison Sweeney and Mark Lucas, because I know that I did Hint of Love just as quarantine was coming into effect. We were like the last production going, and then I think it was Good Morning Christmas, which was a lot of fun because Alison and Mark are so great. And Alison and I actually share. We are the same when it comes to quoting movies. She can quote movies like nobody else, and so she and I both do that. So there were times in breaks between takes I would do a quote, she would do a quote, and we would just go back and forward. And it's kind of I'd never met anybody else who did it as much as me. So
Oh, that's cool. That
fun.
sounds fun. It seemed like I really enjoyed that movie. I thought it was I thought it was really fun. I thought they had great chemistry.
Yeah, yeah,
I interviewed the writer, Riley Weston, and she was so funny. I really enjoyed that.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was a fun script and a fun movie, and the crew was great as well.
Hmm.
Yeah, it was a fun time. I did quite a yeah. It was a fun
Yeah.
role.
So you've been in a bunch of mysteries, several, and I think in the Martha's Vineyards one, I think you were the murderers, right? You're the bad with Joanna.
The evil eyebrow, yes.
Yes. That
Well,
has got to be fun.
yeah, it is. I've played the bad guy. Is it 3 times now? Yeah, I think so. Three
I
times.
couldn't remember in Mystery 101 if you were
Mr.
the
Wonderful
murderer.
was the ex
Yeah.
boyfriend. I was the bad guy in Martha's Vineyard Mysteries. I mean, spoiler alert if you haven't seen.
Yeah.
Crossword Mysteries. I was the bad
Hmm.
guy.
Yeah, that
And
was a good one.
yeah, that was great. That was
Terminal Velocity or something like that, right?
good name, right?
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, directed by Peter Benson as well,
Oh, yeah.
who I'd acted with in Tea Garden Mysteries, and then he directed Crossword Mysteries.
Yeah, you've been, and then he did Rise and Shine Benedict Stone.
Did which followed on, which is
Hmm.
and that's one of the great things about working with Hallmark. You run into some of the same people, and it's like a bit of a family.
Hmm.
But yeah, Martha's Vineyard Mystery was a lot of fun. Like I say, playing the bad guy is always fun because you try and throw people off.
Yeah.
Um, and my wife was Johanna Newmarch, who was in When Calls the
Yeah.
Heart.
Oh, we love her. She's the best. Yeah, so you were in Don't Go Breaking My Heart. Were you like one of her schoolmates? I can't remember in that one.
In my heart, I was the I was the show host of a show that Italia Rich.
Oh, yeah.
I decided I'm sort of talked into taking the course to try and sort my life out. And Italia Ritchie is great, and she's actually a fan of magic, believe it or not. So we got on like a house.
Oh.
Yeah, she loves magic, and
Mhm.
and Ryan PV, of course, who just the sweetest guy and great actor.
We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode, it's Baker Publishing Group. If you're looking for your next summer read, check out Where the Road Bends from author Rachel Fordham. In a desperate bid to save her family's land, Norah King agrees to marry a man she barely knows. But just days before the wedding, she comes across a badly injured stranger who upends all her plans and steals her heart along the way. For more information on Rachel and her books, go to www.rachelfordham.com. That's www.rachelfordham.com.
Well, I was going to ask about Christmas House 2 because they have magic as like a theme, a magic show and everything. So I was like, did you give any tips?
I was actually the magic consultant.
Oh, good.
for that movie as well, because they that was part of the thing that because they had a magician in the movie.
Yeah.
And so I was the consultant on some of the magic on there. So that was fun. But oh boy, that was a fun.
Yeah. That looks really fun. The ensemble.
Really fun because the ensemble. The nice thing was, and that the whole group just welcomed. I guess I was like the new guy, so everybody else had worked together before. They'd done Christmas House 1.
Mm-hmm.
I was like the newbie,
Right.
and everybody was just so welcoming. And they had this group text chat thing that they added me to.
Oh, wow.
And at one point on there, because I didn't have anybody's name saved, I mistakenly thought Jonathan Bennett was Sharon, and so Jonathan took that and took it further and started pretending to be Sharon, and that lasted a while. So I thought I was talking to Sharon, and he's a sneaky.
Yeah, that does seem like a really fun group. And that one, was that filmed in the summer or was it later?
I think so.
So you were roasting.
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty, well, no, it was a bit later on, I think, memory serves. But I just know that, yeah, I mean, it was a fun group. Some of the scenes were hard to get through because of just laughing. There's a dinner scene, the dinner scene where I tell a story about punching a shark in the nose.
Right.
And some of the great thing was that Rich Newey, who's the director, I said, how far can I go with this? He said, you do what you want and I'll just, you know, if we pull it back, we'll pull it back. And Ryan M. Murphy, who was one of the producers, he had a couple of ideas for the scene as well, and he's a friend of mine. And so it was just, the great thing was, I mean, I'm trying to do it, and the coverage is on me, and I can see Jonathan and a few other people laughing. So you're trying to hold it together, and they're laughing, and then, yeah, it was a lot of fun. It's a great movie.
Yeah, I feel like Robert Buckley would be somebody that would get me laughing a lot.
So funny.
He's so funny.
The nicest guy, genuinely the nicest guy, but just funny. And yeah, he told me he was looking forward for me to see a particular bit in the movie that I hadn't seen. And when I saw it, it was after I'd told the story, and it cuts to his diary room thing, and he does a British accent. And there's here, anything I say, it's got to be all great because I'm talking in a British accent, mate. I died. It was.
You're like, try again. That's funny.
So good. It was so funny.
You were on Advice to Love By, which I really enjoyed that movie. That was one of my favorite non-Christmas Hallmark last year. And Brooks Darnell, he is just amazing.
He's great. He's so. He has a stillness about him.
Yes.
That is, I find that he's been on quite a few shows, and there's a stillness about him, and it's something that you see with certain actors on set.
Yeah.
You see them, almost looks like they're not doing anything, but you see it on camera and on the screen, and you realize how well it works. He's a very good actor. Yeah,
it's true. I mean, he's one of the most handsome humans I've ever seen in my life, but he also is, as you said, humble and sweet, and I think that adds to it. It makes him even more.
Yeah.
He's great, and that was a fun one. And then The Christmas Promise was my second favorite Hallmark Christmas movie of 2021. I loved it. I thought it was really well written, and I thought what they did that was so impressive was the fact that they had, because they could have just started the movie with her having basically be a widow. But they have you get to know Henry a little bit. And I think what would be hard about that is that if you felt like she had more chemistry with Giles than with Dylan, then it would create a problem. So it was a risky move, but she luckily had chemistry with both. And so it worked. And I just thought it was very well written and a very good movie.
I mean, that's a testament to the writers, but also to Laurie and the other actors to serve the story in that way. And I think it's very, I like it when Hallmark broaches this, takes that risk to show some sadness and drama, and because you look at look at Disney movies, there's always some tragedy that
Orphans.
I think because the tragedy highlights the happiness.
Yeah.
So
I liked the group of friends. I felt like you all had chemistry, and it must have been kind of fun to shoot like the ugly sweater party and things like that.
It was a lot of fun. That's
with Karen Holness.
Yeah, it was. Her colored the lights.
Yes.
Plugged in, and then she blows a few. Oh, that's very funny. And again, writing, great comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a fun group, another great ensemble.
Yeah. Well, and I liked the scene where she says that she hates you because you let Giles Henry get the ice. Yeah. And I thought that was like a very raw, like vulnerable scene. It was well done.
Yeah, I mean, again, the writing, it's because she doesn't actually,
Right.
and she knows the logic part of her brain knows that I'm not to blame for that, but I guess and that's the sort of the beauty of it, that it's her, it's the sadness, that part of her heart that is trying to find somebody to blame for it, that
Yeah.
we put something, and but the fact that they're great friends and they push through that, so
Mhm. Yeah, it was good. And to have just like a purely platonic friendship
yeah.
between a man and a woman on one of these movies, you don't necessarily see that all that often.
No, there's usually his, and I have played that role,
Yeah.
numerous times, where the other guy, whether you are the ex or the other guy who's like the not the right guy. He's not a bad
Right.
guy, but he's the wrong guy kind of thing. But yeah, this
Yeah.
we're just friends, and she has a great group of friends. Um, yeah,
Yeah, we need to get you up to the next level. Pay attention, Hallmark. we need to give you that bump. Yeah.
I will take.
um,
Yeah, absolutely.
yes, yes. So you were in North the Home and A Second Chance at Love for this year, and those are both dramas. How do you feel about Hallmark like venturing into this like dramatic field?
I think it's great. Really, I think people appreciate it. Um, I think the audience, the people who watch Hallmark movies, I think there's enough. Um, they do enough in the sort of happy rom-com uh, genre that you're never not going to have enough rom-coms to choose from as well.
Right.
So I think having some movies that play on more the drama and seriousness of family and relationships, I think is great. If you have talented writers and good actors to do that, and of course,
Mhm.
yeah, that's I think
I,
it's a good idea.
I'm a little bummed they seem to be moving away from the mysteries. They've canceled, or it seems like they've canceled pretty much almost all of them. That I hope um, that we can have some of everything. Like why not? I guess there's,
Yeah.
as you said, there's plenty of time. And it's funny because I started out not enjoying the mysteries when I first started the podcast in 2017, but they've grown on me, and now I would hate to see them be gone.
Yeah, they were reeling you in, and then
Yeah,
just had you there.
that's right.
I think again, I mean, I have no sort of, I don't know what they intend to do with that, but I'm sure at some point, there's
Yeah.
room for mysteries, just like there's room for the drama and the comedy and
Yeah, and they have debuted two new ones this year, so hopefully they'll keep on with those and they'll be kind of pilots, and we'll see more of them. But
We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies merch store.
Are you looking for that perfect gift for the postable, hardy, or Hallmarky in your life?
What about getting that t-shirt or hoodie that will help you stand out at your next holiday party?
Now is the time to check out the Hallmarkies merch store.
Full of festive designs by artists like Jessica Miller, Carrie from Hallmark Comics, and more.
You can even have more than just shirts, but totes, cell phone cases, notebooks, mugs, and more.
And it isn't just Hallmark. We have designs for Anna Green Gables, Man from Snowy River, The Nanny, and more.
Every purchase at the merch store goes to help support the podcast and allows us to make the great content you know and love.
There are frequent sales, so go to tpublic.com/stores/hallmarkies or see the link in the description.
That's tpublic.com/stores/hallmarkies.
all right, so when calls the heart?
yeah.
Uh, so how did you end up getting involved playing Arthur Gilchrist? Did you audition, or did they come to you, or how did that happen?
It was an audition, but it's yeah, I mean, an audition, but yeah, it kind of just came that way, that
Mhm.
there was a role that it just seemed to fit, and yeah.
Yeah. So when did you do the audition? Do you remember?
Let's see, when did I film? Towards the end of last year, so I think 3/4 of the way through the year, something
Hmm.
like that, I think.
Okay, and then they brought you in. Was it pretty soon after you auditioned that you filmed?
Yeah, I was filming something else at the time, so it kind of it was after Christmas House. Um, so it was further towards the end of the year, towards
Hmm.
the end of filming. I think I was almost yeah, they were almost finished filming when I came into it.
Yeah.
So
there, Arthur's kind of a part of this group of business people that have been on this season. You've got Smith and Walden and now Gilchrist and Gowan and Lucas and so how much? What's that?
A lot of business in it.
Yeah, there really is a lot of business. There's oil and the saloon and coal. And so how much of a villain do you think that Arthur Gilchrist is? Do you see him as a villain at all?
No, I
No.
don't. So far that we've seen, I think that he has good intentions. He is, first and foremost, a businessman. And that's why he's kind of come to town, because he's representing the interests of the oil company, the interest in the newspaper, because he's working for the Hearst newspaper company, which at that time was just buying up magazines and newspapers and everything. So, and I think he has good intentions with Fiona as well, when when he's trying to be charming and try to sort of, oh, hello, Fiona, we meet again, kind of thing. But then he sort of represents also part of the sexism that was just part of that time in that day, that the idea that women in business, and that's what's nice about the story, that Fiona educates him as to how she should be treated.
I feel like Gilchrist could come around. There's another character that was the school inspector character that I said I was team school inspector very early on, and then I was vindicated because he came around, and so I'm hoping that'll be the case also with Gilchrist.
Well, I would say that I mean, I think the clever thing was that the writers, they gave him a definite story. I mean, something that I enjoyed playing was the fact that when I turn up to town first, I shake Fiona's hands with two hands, and I'm a little bit, there's that moment I hold it just a little too long and she pulls back.
Yeah.
At the end of when I leave, I give her a definite business handshake. It's more like, so it's like I've come full circle.
Yeah.
But I think he's definitely redeemable and teachable. So, because he does apologize and he says, I meant no disrespect. And and he even gives Fiona or Miss Miller some advice at the end.
Oh, good.
Well, when he's leaving, he says, that the investors are going to come. I think he likes her, but he's learned to sort of treat her in a respectful manner.
Good.
So.
Well, that's good. I think there was a little bit of chemistry, I think, between you and Kayla. I felt it. So I think that if they wanted to go that way, they could, and it would be good.
Well, I mean, for sure, Arthur likes Fiona. That is for sure. And I think, I mean, Kayla's a wonderful actress. So
she does a good job.
It's but I think in general, Arthur, he was misled by Jerome. I think the hopefully the audience can see that as well. So I think that also helps him be redeemable.
Yeah.
And
kind of shocking though when he tells Lee that he wants him and not Rosemary. I mean, I can't wait until Rosemary finds out about that. She's gonna. I mean, how dare he?
I know. I mean, he's trying to say, he tried to say about Arthur Gilchrist.
And Lee's response is kind of like,
Yeah, I think it's partly, the Hearst newspaper company at the time. They were looking for ways to sell newspapers, and it seems to be that Lee has this way of, these opinion pieces and trying to get people to buy newspapers. And
Rosemary,
is all about reporting the news, being a good journalist and everything. So, but again, once again, the sexism in Arthur says, I just assumed that your wife would join you, as if the little lady would come along with you, and not realizing, hey, buddy, this is her company.
Right? Yeah. Is that your doorbell? Do you need to get it?
No, that was some big truck.
Oh, okay.
That's an impressive doorbell. If that's
So, what was it like joining the Hope Valley team?
oh, it's amazing. Great.
Yeah.
I mean, I say it about all the movies, but just such a great team. Some people who I'd worked with before,
Mm.
um, and for example, Johanna Newmarch, although we didn't have any scenes together, but yeah, just a wonderful, welcoming team. And of course, I got to work with Peter again, who I hadn't worked with since A Brush with Love, 2019,
Mm-hmm.
a friend of mine. And but yeah, and it was just, it's the first time I've done a period piece, and as an actor, it's like being a kid again, because you're
Mm-hmm.
surrounded by all these old props and things, and it's really like playtime. When when you're a kid and you have a playroom or you have a room and you got your toys around, and your imagination is sparked by that, and that's kind of what it is. You just get
Yeah.
so it's a lot of fun.
I think that would be fun. And it would help you get into character, even though the costumes are not the most historically accurate, but I think even so, it would still help you kind of get in the moment.
Well, even things like they gave me this beautiful pocket watch
Mm.
to have, and being the magician, of course, I had to. I was obsessed with working on it so that I wanted to open it with one hand, because I would. It's one of those things you think, well, if it was my watch that I was used to getting out, you would open it with one hand. You would know how to press the button, which took a little bit of practice, because I wanted to make sure I could do it smoothly without messing up a take. So I spent ages in my trailer just sort of just getting it.
Yeah.
So that was fun. But yeah, little touches like that make all the difference.
Mm-hmm. Did you have to quarantine for 2 weeks before doing When Calls the Heart?
No, I mean, there was tests. Everything that I've done. Something that I did more recently was a huge amount of tests, but it was no, I think it was just there were tests and there was temperature checks and all that kind of thing. They follow all the COVID protocols.
That's good. That's good. All right. Well, last time you did our regular fun questions at the
Okay.
end of the interview. So this time you get the holiday version.
Okay.
So get your Christmas cap on, start thinking about all your favorite holiday stuff. And all right, the first question is, what is your favorite holiday drink?
Let's say hot chocolate.
Okay, good.
Just a classic hot chocolate.
Sounds good. What is your favorite holiday cookie or treat?
Oh, how do you? Probably just when you get those giant chocolate chip cookies and a cabinet, when it's just the right amount of soft,
Yeah.
but it's a little bit chewy, but also if they warm it up, oh yes.
The key is to making good chocolate chip cookies is you take it out like a minute or two before they say.
Right. Okay. That's just so you're assuming that I'm making this myself.
If they're browned, it's too far. You let it go too far.
My quarantine story. Yeah, I don't see that working out well, but yes, I will bear that in mind.
All right. What is your favorite Christmas song or carol?
Anything with Bing Crosby feels very traditional. So
Yeah.
maybe Nat King Cole. Christmas song, Chestnuts.
Yeah. That's a good one. All right. What's your favorite classic Christmas movie?
Oh, can I be controversial? Say Die Hard.
Sure. Yeah, it counts.
Well, it's let's see. I've always loved Scrooge. With Bill Murray.
Bill Murray. Yeah, that one's a good one too.
But I will say this. Okay. No, I know what it is. It's this. It's not the Santa. It's Santa Claus the movie, which had
one with Dudley Moore.
Dudley Moore.
I've never seen it.
That's one of the first movies I saw at the movie theater.
Oh wow!
There's a bit when he does the loop de loop with the reindeer towards the end. I still get chills watching it. The hairs stand up on the back of my neck. It's worth watching.
Yeah, I need to watch that one of these days. I've never seen it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, which do you like better, Scrooge or the Grinch?
I'll say the Grinch because Jim Carrey.
Oh, okay, good.
Dinner with myself. I can't cancel that again.
You do a pretty good Jim Carrey. Yeah, it's good.
Sure.
All right. What do you like better, clear lights or colored?
Clear. I like clear lights.
Would you rather be in a snowball fight or build a snowman?
Snowball fight.
Okay, good. Thing about building a snowman is you need a lot of snow. It has to be thick
Yeah.
in order for it to work.
You need a carrot, you know. And
Yeah, carrots.
coal. Who has coal anymore? It's like, yeah.
That's right. Okay. Are you a good gift wrapper or not?
Terrible.
Terrible.
I have good intentions when I start out. You know, I think a lot and then a thing, and then as I start to fold in the ends, it all just goes to, you know.
Yeah.
Goes to pot. So.
That's probably me as well. I just lose patience. All right. Do you have an ugly Christmas sweater?
You know, I've tried multiple times to get ugly Christmas sweaters, but it depends. I bought one that had these wooden button things at the front, and it ended up looking all right. And I think it takes a lot of effort to find a truly ugly one, because if it's just on the right side of ironic, it can actually look okay. But it's more of a cardigan, but it's pretty good. Yeah.
You're like, my sweaters are great looking. They're ugly. Very cool.
What's your ugliest one? Do you have a?
Well, we do have on our merch store, we have an ugly Christmas design that I have a shirt for, but I have one has a cat on it.
A cat?
Yeah, the Christmas cat.
How does it relate? How's it a Christmas?
I don't know. I got it from my old co-host Amber. She gave it to me. I don't wear it because it's really scratchy.
Okay, well, it's a cat.
That's the problem with a lot of those, like the true ugly Christmas sweaters are usually kind of scratchy. And
yeah, they make you pay for wearing it. It's like
so I would usually just go with like an ugly t-shirt. It's more comfortable.
Yeah, or the ugly t-shirt, layer it up, ugly t-shirt with ugly sweater, which means it doesn't scratch so much.
I should have worn it for the interview, but I got some ugly Christmas sweater caps last year for wearing on the podcast. Because the problem, it doesn't work to wear a shirt or sweater very much on the podcast because you can't hardly see anything, right? And so that's why I decided to go with the hats, because then you could actually see. I mean, I have my right here. I have my Santa hat.
Oh, there you go. Wow,
it's the best Santa hat ever.
I like that because of the length of it. It's like it's the length of a windsock kind of thing, or like it truly looks like So the Christmas sweater, the Christmas t-shirt underneath, some Christmas gloves.
Yeah,
I mean, you could be roasting.
I do this for my living. I got to look the part, right?
Yeah. And then, the mug and everything. Go all out.
It works. It works. So hopefully we'll be seeing you more and When Calls the Heart and some other projects coming up, and hopefully some Christmas projects. That would be really fun. Yeah. We'll put the good vibes out there. But thank you so much for talking with us. This was a lot of fun to catch up, and I hope you have a great summer.
Thank you very much for having me back.
Yeah. So if people want to follow you on social media, things like that, how can they do that?
There was a couple of fake accounts on Instagram recently, but I think it's Matthew_James_Dowden, I think, on Instagram, and it says my official account. There is on Twitter, it's just Matthew_Dowden, because there is a Matthew J. Dowd.
Okay.
The politician.
Oh no.
I used to have Matthew J. Dowden as my thing, and I was getting tagged in to his political and recently somebody tagged him in one of my things about When Calls the Heart. So Matthew,
that's funny.
Yeah.
Well, we'll put all that in the description. And thanks everybody for listening. And we'd love to hear your thoughts and comments in the comments section or on Twitter. And you can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all over social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. Check me out. Also, make sure you're following the podcast at Hallmarkies Pod, Hallmarkies Podcast, all of our social media. And if you are listening on iTunes, please leave your ratings and reviews 5 stars. It helps us so, so much. And if you are watching on YouTube, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. We appreciate that so much. We also have the Patreon group and merch store. Check that out. And thank you so much, Matthew. This was a blast. I really had a great time. And we'll definitely have to have it not be like 2.5 years for the next interview.
Let's make it. Yes, no, definitely.
All right, sounds good. And thanks so much, everybody. We'll talk to y'all later. Bye.